Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my recap for the live letter number 34, which is the patch 3.5 preview part 2 for Final Fantasy XIV. Took place just a few hours after the super exciting opening keynote for the Japanese Fan Festival, and to be honest, live letter wasn't anything too exciting. Apparently, most of the things they wanted to say about the patch were actually done in part 1, so they mostly showed us in-game footage, screenshots, and clarified a few new features. So let's just go down the list. Yoshi P started with a few technical difficulties. He showed off new filters for the group post features. I'll show you those screenshots down below a little bit later. Showed off different things like different framings, different lightings, heart particle effects. So there's going to be a lot of customizability with the group pose option. A lot of new things you're going to be able to do with that. Also, they announced a Final Fantasy XIV TV miniseries, The Father of Light. It's going to be a TV drama, live action, and from what people tell me in Japan, a TV drama is mostly action. It's not actually like a drama. Apparently, it's based on the novel of the same name, The Father of Light, by Ichigeki Kakusatsu SS Nikki. That was the whole name that it said. So I'm just repeating it. Then they refreshed us what they talked about on the live letter number 33, which was patch 3.5 preview part 1. They officially announced the release date for part 1 of patch 3.5. That's January 17th, 2017. I was off by a week. That was one of the 2 dates I expected it to be. Part 2 is still planned for March. Now, Yoshi P went to the lavender beds. He showed off the Paisa housing. He showed off the paintings inside. By the way, don't forget that most of the paintings in the game are gotten from doing your sightseeing log. So if you haven't done them, I want to go do them now. Get a little bit ahead of yourself. They also showed off some new fish in the aquarium, and I believe the aquarium itself was brand new. They showed off the screenshots that I made a video about the other day regarding patch 3.5, nothing new that you haven't seen before. They also showed off more about Zurvan the Demon, including about 30 to 40 seconds of actual gameplay of him fighting Zurvan. He went in game. You can't fall off the arena by being knocked off. However, it does look like you can fall off through other means. His basic attack looked to be a giant AoE slash, but as he was fighting, parts of the arena were actually falling off. If you're standing on them when they fall off, then you die. I don't know if they made any mention of if you can be resurrected after you die, but you'll die if you fall off the arena like that. He was specifically saying, it's funny because Zurvan's upper body, it looks like he's trapped in a cake, and they specifically said it looks like he's cutting pieces of a cake. It was falling off in quadrants, and when there was only one left, he charged up a giant AoE, and that's when they cut away because apparently he had shown too much. He also breaks out of his prison and starts doing newer attacks, and then eventually as the fight goes on, he breaks out of his prison a whole lot more. Now, they said it was going to be harder than Sophia Extreme, but there was a bit of mistranslation after that. He specifically mentioned comparing it to A12. What's not clear is if he mentioned A12 or A12 Savage. So I can't imagine this being harder than A12 Savage. I mean, but at the same time, it's like, no shit, it's easier. No shit, it's harder than A12 normal. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, the translation there. I'm just going to say he said it was harder than A12 in some manner. Nothing official. Maybe it says it on the official translation. I don't know. Then they showed off a little bit of Dunscaith. That's the final 24-man raid for our current expansion, Heavensward. And they showed off the area. So apparently Dunscaith is the area where the inhabitants of the Void Ark escaped to and settled in. It was basically a refugee haven for the Maki after the War of the Magi. Yoshi P goes in-game again, and the first boss, we knew this, is going to be taking place on an airship. What better boss to take place on the airship than Death Gaze? Apparently, the official translation from the Japanese text on the screen was like Death Claw Scythe. It could be Doom Gaze, it could be Death Gaze. The thing is, there's a level 35 Fate out in Central Shroud that has an enemy called Death Gaze, but this is very clearly the same model as Death Gaze. So maybe they'll get the whole Phlegathon, Acheron treatment. Well, who knows? Now, you can be knocked off this arena, but even if you fall off, you can be resurrected. Yoshi P actually bugged the fight out. He had 0 health and he one-shot the boss or something, and then he got loot and moved on to the next part. It seemed like they were kind of acting like it was accidental, but considering he has God mode turned on, it probably was on purpose. And then they started exploring more of Dunscaith. They showed the airship port. They showed Ferdiad flying around, burning parts of the city, and Kochi escorting you throughout multiple parts. They even showed a few crystal ads, which I believe I have a picture of down below. Then they talked about the Diadem Rework a little bit. So they reminded people of what we know so far. Don't forget, as soon as patch 3.5 starts, the Diadem will be unavailable until its rework releases in March. Materials inside are going to be made available through other means. Please be Aquapolis. I make so much money off Aquapolis. And don't forget, there's 2 different queues, hunting and gathering, depending on what you want to do while you're inside the Diadem. Now, in the exploratory missions, you're basically the biggest difference here, at least on a basic level, is that you're going in with an objective. You can actually head off and explore via requesting the option to fly out there via House Halenar. Aether currents are automatically unlocked. You don't need to unlock those anymore going inside. And all the different objectives that are available are shown when you go to House Halenar. Once an objective is complete, then another objective will appear at the house, and completing an exploration completely yields additional rewards. Now, as for what the rewards are, very similar to what was named before, spoils and equipment that can be obtained by having an NPC unlock a lockbox. This sounds a lot like Palace of the Dead's Accursed Hoard, which, by the way, I love, but I don't know how good of an idea it is to recycle that idea in another piece of content. We'll have to see how it eventually works out. Equipment stats will be randomly generated, but we don't know the scope of which they'll be randomly generated. Are they going to be usable? We don't know yet. We don't know if everyone's just going to end up with parry on everything. That sounds similar to the old Diadem. Items rewarded for completing explorations will be automatically placed in your inventory, so you're not going to roll on them. They'll just be placed in your inventory. And there's actually going to be instances where treasure caskets appear upon defeating monsters, which give additional rewards. That's, again, a lot like the old Diadem. Now, on top of that, they showed a new image of a platform on the center crystal of the Diadem. By the way, the entire atmosphere of the Diadem seems to be a lot different. It seems much darker and much more ominous than it did before. Whereas before it was like, hey, it's this happy-go-lucky area, you know? So if I could spell anomalous, that would be fantastic. Anomalous elements. So basically, battle events are going to spawn around the map that players can go and be a part of. These were what they referred to as full area raids before, where a special raid occurs in a specific area once a certain limit of these battle events has been reached. And everyone's going to have to find a way to fight against a large boss. The inside of the center crystal in the Diadem is shown with a bunch of platforms and different bosses on different platforms. One of the screenshots looks like it has almost like an icy Cerberus. The other one looks like it has a completely different monster that I don't recognize. And it's recommended that you need at least 4 parties to tackle these bosses. I believe that's 4 parties of 8. It could be 4 parties of 4. I wasn't sure, so I just put 4 parties to tackle these bosses. And honestly, to me, it looked like there were multiple bosses guarding multiple crystals, which may be why you need multiple parties to fight them at the same time. But we didn't really get a great view of the entire area, so it's hard to tell. It might just be that it's one big boss, need a lot of parties to beat it, and it's expected to be above average difficulty, at least harder than the old Diadem bosses were, like the Brachiosaur. After that, there was not really much. They showed off the new fish, the fish tank again, the new emote, which is a singing emote, which basically does a little dance and a sing. So there you go, hashtag dancer confirmed, except it's an emote, and you sing along with it. Now, after that, they moved on to the second half, where they brought in special guest Amamiya Keita. For those who don't know, he works on the live-action TV drama and anime GARO. And on top of that, he's done work with the Shin Megami Tensei series as one of their designers. He is going to be working on the 24-man raid for Stormblood. So they did a quick interview with him, how they met, mostly a guest interview style like they do with the other live letters. However, Yoshida, while talking with, and again, I misspelled his name, when talking with him, mentioned that he actually wants to change up the way we experience raids with new features and things we haven't seen before in 4.0. Now, keep in mind, he's probably talking about the 24-man because he's talking with Amamiya, but still, you know, we take it for what it is. He wants to create new experiences for us. They also then started, after that, it was mostly just back and forth, them kind of bantering a little bit. And then they did the announcements. Eorzea Collection, 2016 to 2017, on sale January 24th in Japan. Reminder of the Binding Coil of Bahamut escape room in Japan to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy. But then they announced the new collaboration event, the GARO X Final Fantasy XIV collaboration event. There's going to be weapons and armor available for every job. 3 new mounts that you can obtain. And these items are not going to be gotten through Fates. You can get them through PvP or the Gold Saucer. However, only the PvP versions can be dyed. And to boot, this collaboration is going to launch January 17th, right alongside the PvP changes, aka removal of the Grand Company restrictions on PvP, or at least giving you the choice to not use Grand Company restrictions in PvP. They also showed off a new movie trailer for GARO, and also the lead actor of the new movie, GARO Dragonblood, Fujita Ray, joined the stage to talk about it. Apparently, he's a big Final Fantasy XIV fan. So, moving on, we've got a few screenshots. Some of them are cut off at the bottom. I don't know why. Here's the filters that they were going through. You can see the heart particles. You can see some of the options here, the colors, the lighting. You can see the Paisa house. You can see the paintings. These are different sightseeing logs, so they're technically in-game pictures. Another creepy picture of the Paisa house. We have Zervan, the demon, right here. We have the first boss of Dunskaith, the Death Gaze. There's the airship. There's one of his mechanics where he sucks people into the middle of the room and probably explodes eventually. Here's another part of Dunskaith. Here's another part. Apparently, I missed the part with the crystals. I guess I didn't get a picture of the part with the crystals. And then we move on to the diadem. Here's a picture of some unicorns walking around in the diadem, although it looks definitely bright and cheery here. It might depend on when the super effects. Oh, no, here's the crystals. They're just out of order. Yeah, some crystal ads that you're going to have to deal with. 3 crystals. You can see his HP is at 0, God mode enabled. Just a quick image of the exploratory missions, the new features. Here's where the entrance, here's where it looks like really ominous. You can see the platform on the center crystal. You can see the full area raid that's on the inside of it. That enemy looks like a Cerberus to me from back here. But then this is the image we get when we move a little closer. I don't know if it's the same enemy, but if you look, there's another platform like in the back, which looks like it has an enemy that looks like, I can't really tell. Is that a 5-headed dragon? You can see he's like back here. Ish. That's why I think you're going to need multiple parties to fight multiple bosses at once, and it's not just going to be one boss at a time kind of deal. This was just a quick image. This is where they started getting cut off at the bottom for some reason. That's a picture of the singing emote. Here's how it kind of looks. See it like now they're all, oh, I see what happened. No, never mind. It was because I was copy and pasting them with like, I wasn't pasting them like the whole image. I was like pasting them along the top. So like this is the old image from this. You could see this right here, and then it was pasting it under. Yeah, that's my fault. Okay. And then some of the GARO glamours. You can see the mount. You can see the actual armor itself. You can see the mounts when they fly. This was supposed to say GARO X Final Fantasy 14. And then they also brought in 2 live-action people to also take a few more pictures. You can see the helmets. This guy was a paladin. This guy was a ninja. And yeah, it was pretty damn cool. Oh, this guy's a male right here from my Twitch chat that's asking. And yeah, honestly, it's... Oh yeah, was that a reskin Final Fantasy 13 Behemoth? You might be right. I think you're actually right. I think you might actually be right on that one. But yeah, it was not that great of a live letter. Definitely, I mean, we kind of already knew everything. So the GARO X Final Fantasy 14 event, and it being not a Fate-related event, is definitely welcome. And since there's going to be weapons, armor, and mounts, the mounts are gotten through achievements, by the way. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good event. It doesn't seem like something that's going to like impede your ability to, you know, enjoy Fates. Hopefully you enjoy PvP though, or the Gold Saucer, because you're going to be spending a lot of time in one of those. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. We were just covering the live letter part 34. Patch 3.5 part 2. Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful. Don't forget, if you haven't seen it, I also posted an overview and thoughts on the recent opening keynote for the Japanese Fan Festival that has announcements like the new job, the release date for the expansion, awesome things like that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this YouTube video. I'm going to say goodbye to my Twitch stream after I wrap up this video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And until next time, take care.